Hey quilters, in today's show we're going to embrace our quilting curves as we show you how to cut and sew a block from the Go Joseph's coat die. I'm liking our little music. Hey quilters, welcome to AccuQuilt Live. I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. Thanks for joining us today. I'm getting all my stuff ready for our show. Hey, let's see where everybody is watching from. Rosemary is watching from Tennessee. Hi, Rosemary. And Peggy's watching from Norwalk, California. And Kenna's watching from North Logan, Utah, which is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Thanks for watching today. Hey quilters, let's showcase some new projects from our intro video. First, we have this beautiful quilt by Karen M.G. So Karen actually used our cube and companion set angles, to get that triangle and a square look. Which I really, really like. And I love the colors. Next, we have one from Karen. And Karen used our Mariner's Compass. I had to think about that for a minute. But look at how pretty that is with sunflowers. All right. Let's show our photo of the day. Okay, many of you made the Exploding Heart quilt by our good friend of Slice of Pie. And I thought it was just, first of all, a fabulous pattern. If you're not familiar with it, you can go to Slice of Pie and purchase it, the pattern there. And I used my 8-inch cube to create this beautiful quilt. So the question of the day is, do you prefer scrappy or fabric collections for your quilts? It's going to be interesting to see because I, as you know, most of the time prefer scrappy, which is what I used here for my Slice of Pie, okay? Today I'm going to give away one of our Go Joseph's coat die. Be sure and register for future events on the AccuQuilt event page for your chance to win. By registering, you will receive event emails. That way you won't miss an exciting tutorial. And I'm going to announce the winner of our registered viewer at the end of our show. So I'm going to pull up all the comments. So be sure in the comments section, tell me, do you make scrappy or using collections? So hold on here. Let me find there we go. Our team is working hard. We have Alyssa on our team is out there working, and I assume Courtney's out there as well. All right, quilters, the Go Daisy Chain Table Runner, which is right here in front of me. Our good friend Terry Vandenbosch made this. And look at how pretty that is. It is a free pattern at AccuQuilt.com. And it's a really great way to start if you're just starting with AccuQuilt. Maybe you're new to curves. We're going to talk about curves and how to cut and sew them. Start with like a table runner or a wall hanging, really easy project. So you're going to need the Go Joseph's coat die. It's on a 10 by 10 die board. So you'll need a 10 by 10 cutting mat and the Go 2-inch strip die. This little bias binding right here, can we get a good picture of it? Thank you, Greg. Right here, this bias binding is actually super tight. So it's just 2 inches that Terry used. And then this is our circle die. She added circles in the top. You don't have to, but it looks super cute. I like it a lot. All right, quilters, let's take a look at, first of all, the block that this is going to make. So this is a sample of one of the blocks that are in our little daisy chain here. All right, and let's look at this die because it's really kind of cool. It only has 2 shapes, and the A and the B. This is, here, I'll show you here. This is the center section, and then B is kind of this melon shape, okay? Now, before you get all stressed about this, look, we have notches and specialized dog ears. So when we cut these pieces, they're gonna cut perfectly, and then we're gonna put them together with those notches, and they're gonna sew together perfectly, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to use this. This is a great, great die, all right? Now, just giving you the heads up. This die and our Go Signature Circles launched yesterday. They are part of our permanent die collection. It's not a die to try, it's a permanent die. We have just a handful of these Joseph Coates die left out of inventory because it was so popular yesterday. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm kind of thinking about it, think hard and fast. You want to make sure you get one of these before they're sold out. Because once they're sold out, then we won't know when we get a new shipment of them in. And I think this is perfect for, like, think about Christmas. You could make poinsettias. It's just really a cool die, okay? So it's on a 10 by 10 die board. Make sure you use a 10 by 10 cutting mat. It's going to fit through our Go and our Go Big fabric cutters. Fun fact. It is our first bob to finish to 11 inches. Kind of fun. Now, what is a bob, you ask? Bob stands for block on board, which means all the shapes you need to make one entire block are on one die board. Different than the cubes, where you're gonna grab 2 or 3 dies to make a block, all in one die board, all right? So it's an AccuQuilt innovation, and we love it. So let me show you how to lay out our fabric, and we're gonna cut a block. Remember, there are only 2 shapes, which makes it super simple. So I'm gonna start here with our little B shape here. So for our block, it needs to be these 2 colors of purple. So I followed the instructions, and I've subcut my fabric so that I can lay my fabric here over shape B. Remember, you can always cut 6 layers of cotton fabric. Make sure you have that lengthwise grain parallel to the lengthwise blades. 6 layers of cotton. You could cut flannel, felt, denim, wool. Start with one of those thicker layers. All right, and then I've followed the pattern to subcut my shape A. Okay, look how easy that is. All right, so I'm gonna grab a 10 by 10 cutting mat. And while I do that, while we're gonna run it through the Go Big, I'm gonna look at some questions. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. Oh, here, I gotta go way up here. We have so many people telling us that they love Scrappy, okay? Let's see. Hold on. Melanie says she likes collections. Linda says she loves Scrappy. Paula loves both. I feel like that's gonna be way more popular too, right? That you love them both. Mary likes both. Barbara says Scrappy all the way. Patty loves both. Rita says hi from Spring, Texas. Hi, Rita. She likes fabric collections. Annie likes, this is interesting. She says it depends on the project. And I have to sometimes agree with that. I'm gonna talk a little bit later about a project that we're gonna do, and I'm not gonna do Scrappy. It's gonna be kind of fun. Patty likes Scrappy. Anna likes both. Cindy is Scrappy. Mary is both. Look at you guys. Okay, Nana, I hope I said your name right, says she hasn't tried Scrappy yet. This is the perfect die to start with Scrappy. All right, let's get, we're gonna start sewing our pieces. We need pins. I'm loving all of these scrappiness because honestly, quilters, I really like Scrappy because I'm a big keeper. When I finish a project, I keep what's left over, right? So like we did our sew along and we did it all in batiks, and I had enough left over to make a whole other project with those batiks. So I think that that's kind of why I like Scrappy. It's just a really good way to use my stash. Give it a little love. We are gonna slide, don't lift. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, here, I'm gonna move this, since we're done cutting, up here. There, that will work. Oh, Patty says in all caps, collections. I feel like that's really important. Kimberly likes coordinated scrappy, and Pamela loves scrappy and planned. Oh, I feel like this is such a fun question. All right, here we go. So now what you want to do is you really want to follow the directions here. In your quilting head, you're going to think that you're going to take this center section and you're going to sew a left and a right to it, and then you're going to add this and sew a left and a right. That is not the best way to do this. What you're going to want to do, quilters, is you want to create units with just one melon shape to one side. And I learned, because I read the instructions, that you just want to do one side. So I added a melon section to the left side. All right? So what I'm going to do, and then you're going to sew these three together, then we're going to sew these three together, then we're going to flip it over, and very carefully we're going to sew the two halves together. Okay? Because in your quilting head, you're going to think, oh, I just want to continue. But what's going to happen is then it's going to get all bunched up in the center. Okay? So now I just need a light, oh, and a dark. Okay. Put these up here. Now, yesterday in the lunch, the lovely Erica talked about using our June Taylor basting, our glue stick. I have one right here. And she actually glued this one down for me yesterday. And I'm going to try it because I feel like that might be easier for some people rather than trying to manipulate the pins. But you can see she just took the glue and now it's really stuck there. Okay, I'll get my hand out of the way. Thanks, Greg. All right, so I'm going to use this one and then I'm going to pin this one. Now, the tip to pinning is you want to have the smiley face on top and the frowny face on the bottom, okay? So smiley face on top, frowny face on the bottom. And the reason you want to do that is so that there is a, I'm going to use this one. The reason I'm going to do it is because then underneath you can manipulate the fabric, and as you go through the machine, it's just easier to have that convex or concave, it must be concave, right, section on the bottom, the frowny face on the bottom. So I'm going to pin, and I'm going to start here, and I just want to make sure that my notches, I try to line it up here in the mat so that my top and my bottom are straight. Now, we have lots of pins on our website. This is my new favorite pin. This is a magnetic pin cushion, and these are cute little red pins, and I just love them, okay? I just think mostly I love the red pins, but the pin cushion is magnetic, so I don't have to be searching for stuff. And then I'm going to come right here. We have specialized dog ears, so as I bring this down here to the corner, it's going to line up, and I'm going to put a pin in here, and I'm going to come right here and put a pin here. Okay, don't forget to tell me if in the comment section if you're liking scrappy and collections. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to start here, and I'm going to pin. I'm going to sew this one, and then I'm going to sew the one that Erica made for us. All right, before I do, let's look at some comments. Marilyn Ellen also says it depends on what she's doing. Patty says she doesn't always use the same line of fabric, and so she doesn't consider something scrappy unless it's left over from other projects, which I think is kind of fun. Suzette likes them both. Randy likes fabric lines. All right, so does Jerry Lynn. And Jerry likes scrapping collections or whatever is handy, which I think is hilarious. Okay. All right. Hold on here. Annette wants to know, if you don't cut on the lengthwise grain, would that cause your seams not to match? So I am going to say yes. That's exactly right. The reason you want to cut on the lengthwise grain is so that it lines up perfectly. If you cut on the bias, it's going to stretch. So when you try to line up your pieces, it's not going to work. And somebody just asked, how do we do the gluing section? So let's glue one. Let's glue one, and then I can show you. Okay? So, oh, here. See, the glue is purple. How funny is that, right? So I have to use a lighter purple one. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're just going to start here. Go back to your kindergarten years. Don't get too much on, but as I've been practicing this, I learned you need to get enough on. Okay? All right, so if you were gluing, I would glue the bottom section. I would start here. Okay? And then I would just do one side at a time. I'm just going to come right here, right here, right here. Make sure it's coming along the stretch. Okay, see? Okay, and now I'm going to do this side. I kind of like the idea of gluing. I'm not sure if it's going to be faster to glue or faster to pin. Okay, and then what you want to do is come right here along this seam line and make sure that it's not puckered. Okay. And then you have to let the glue dry. Okay, see, look at that. So yesterday, Erica did one for me, so we're gonna start, all right? All right, quilters, here we go. Let's see how it works. Want to make sure you're sewing a 1/4 inch seam. That's kind of a question I get a lot. Now, if you get here and it starts to pucker, just lift up your foot, your presser foot, kind of manipulate that fabric, smooth it out. Don't take the time to not have puckers in it, okay? And then I'm gonna come right here. And this little edge got moved when I was gluing it, so I'm gonna make sure that it's flat. Okay. And now let's do one with the pins. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start right here on the end, make sure my ends match. That's, if your ends don't match, then you won't have, the centers won't match, which you should. Okay. So I'm coming right here. I'm going to stop. I make sure I leave my needle in there, my needle down. Okay. All right, so now it's getting a little bit of a pucker there. Don't forget, you not only can you tell us what collections you want, or if you do scrappy, but you can also ask questions in those comment sections. Our team is helping us today. All right, so let me get my scissors. And let's talk about pressing. Oh, Brock says answer the questions. So hold on one sec. Okay. Okay, so somebody asked, Brenda asked about the glue technique I showed you. Are all of the sizes of the white piece the same, all of the sides? And the answer is yes, they are all the same, okay? Here's a great question. So the glue washes out, or is it ironed out? So I'm gonna tell you that the glue washes out. So once you're done making your quilt top, have it quilted, bind it, put a label on it, bind it, and then once you wash it, that glue is just gonna wash right out. It's not gonna mess with anything. But that's a great question. Oh, another question is about the glue is, will it gunk up your needle? So the answer to that is no. I've used it many times and it's not. It's kind of like when you're sewing with applique, you know, because the applique has that fusible on the back. No, it's not. But I'm going to tell you, quilters, I change my needle after every project. When was the last time you changed your needle? Okay? Every time I finish a project, I put in a new needle. It's like magic. Okay? Oh, can you replace after you glue and reposition? Yep, I did. I moved it and I've sewn it and it's great. Okay? Those are really good questions. All right, don't forget to ask questions if you need to. Okay, let's see. Lots of people are loving scrappy and collections here. I'm going to move on down. Hi from Florida. Bonnie says hi. I like them both. Joanna says, I love the scrappy look, but I vary darks and mediums and lights for contrast. Oh, that's a great idea. I mix scales of prints and make sure that to include prints with stripes and prints with dots or curves. It balances the scrappiness. That's a really great idea. And Mary says she likes both, but she's especially fond of scrappy because as a kid, it looked like a quilt and oh, yeah, because back in the day, this is what happens when I have my phone and my computer on. A kid is calling me. Back in the day, like a quilt was totally scrappy, right? Your grandma took dresses and shirts, and that's what they used in quilts. So I think that that's really cool. Okay, so now we're going to iron. All right, here we go. Now, the thing about ironing and pressing is what we're going to call it. I got my iron and my wool mat. Is that these shapes are going to kind of want to press one direction, okay? I never press them open, okay? So what I have found is, see, it's super happy to be coming right here. I'm gonna pull that out there so it lays flat. There we go. It's super happy to be going towards the center. So I'm going to let it. Don't fight with your fabric, okay? There's enough drama in the world. Don't fight with your fabric, okay? All right. And I'm going to do the same with this one, okay? Here we go. So kind of an interesting thing. So let's kind of look at them and see how we did with the gluing compared to the pinning. Okay, so there's my pinned one, and here's my glued one. So I think they both did great. Look at that. The reason it doesn't come out with ironing is because I never, ever, 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 none steam, ever, none. Okay, I guess if you use steam, then, you know, it would create that. All right, so now what you're going to do is we're just going to build blocks. Oop. Okay. There we go. And this is our last one. Okay. Now, here is my tip when you're sewing these pieces together, these little arcs, these units. Okay. I am going to start, and I want to make sure that I start from this, hold on here. Now that I've messed it up here. I knew the minute I touched it, I had moved it. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna start here, and what I wanna do is I wanna start from the center and stitch out, okay? So where these are right here, I want to make sure these line up. So I'm going to give it a little pin right here. Okay. I'm going to pin it where the smiley face is, right? Okay. And then I'm going to come here to where the ends meet. Okay. And I'm going to actually, you know what? I'm going to pin it the other way. Listen. When we sew the other pieces, we always sew with the smiley on top, but I'm going to give you this little tip because this is how I made it work. I'm going to sew from the center out to the edge. And so I'm actually going to sew with our little bottom section on the top. The reason is I found that it just was easier to manipulate the middle, right, and sew it out here to the end to match up than to start from the ends because there's so little fabric there. That makes sense. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm liking this. I love the scrappiness of this. Okay. All right, and again, I'm just going to start here. I'm going to make sure all my fabric is lined up. Give it a couple of stitches there. Make sure I'm going through all the layers. Pull this back. Don't forget, you can ask questions in the comment section. You can tell us if you like scrappy, if you like collections. Okay, now I'm going to stop here because I can feel underneath where it's starting to kind of create a little pucker. Okay, and that's the thing about this that I love is that, you know, they're just gentle curves, so you can manipulate them and make sure you get all of them flat. There we go. Going nice and slow. It's not a race. I love the look of the flowers on this. I feel like it would be perfect for so many seasons. Okay, let's see how we did here. Because truly, quilters, if it's not right, you want to go back and fix it, okay? But look, now I have this 1/4 inch here. They've lined up here. They've lined up at the edge. It's looking good, okay? And let's see how I press this. Oh, I think I just pressed them all in one direction. Okay. All right. So before I go to the next one, I'm going to look at questions. Oh, hold on here. Oh. Does the glue get on your needle? I think I'm going to be a fan of glue. I think all of us should be fans of glue, and it doesn't. It's going to be just fine. Just make sure after you finish the project, you change out your needle. Someone says, can you make this into a square? Huh. Several people of you asked, could you make this into a square? Okay, so before we sew that, I'm going to say, no. I was thinking maybe this would allow it to be more, you know, on a square. So I'm going to say no. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean you couldn't take this circle and applique it down to a square. But yeah, I see where you would want to wonder if it was a square. Good questions. Good questions. All right. So now I've done this, and I've done this, and I'm going to do this, And I'm going to make sure those centers match. And don't forget, quilters, we have really limited supply of this die, so if you're wondering what it's like now that you've seen it, go ahead and go to AccuQuilt.com and get you one. All right. And I'm going to make sure that I line up these corners together, because we want the centers to match. I like the fact that Terry used little circles to cover over those centers. Makes them look like daisies. Thus the name. All right, here we go. All right, so the question is, how does AccuQuilt help me create more perfect projects? Okay, so think about this, quilters. If you were making this project without a die, most likely you would be making it with a template or maybe a ruler, okay? Well, the thing about templates is that after a while, they don't cut perfectly, right? Because you've used them. You've used scissors on them or a rotary cutter or those kind of things. But with our dies, that never need sharpening. Do you know that? They never need sharpening. What needs to be replaced are your cutting mats. So if your die is not cutting cleanly or your shapes aren't perfect, get you a new cutting mat. Try with that. But we're going to get accurate, perfect cuts every single time, 100% of the time. Make sure you're following the instructions on how to lay the fabric. Make sure if it's any of our bob dies or geometric shapes that you're using lengthwise green. Yeah. So that's how it can help. All right, here we go. Ah, ta-da! Look at this. Love it when it works, right? All right, so now I'm going to press this. And I'm just going to press it the way it wants to go. Okay. And then we're going to sew the two halves together. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to do one half, start from the center and sew away to the end. And then we're going to do the other half and sew away to the end. And don't forget, you just need 5 of these units for our placemat, or our table runner, which is kind of cool, okay? All right, so now I'm going to go right here. I'm going to make sure that I find the middle where all of the points are coming together for these little flowers. And I'm going to put a pin right there. Okay. Then I'm going to find those notches. I'm going to pin them. So see how it's a little easier to start sewing from the center rather than the edge. And then I'm going to line this up here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the half, then I'm going to check it to make sure that I've done it correctly, and then I'm going to sew the other half. All right. Oh, see, this wasn't even ready at all to go. Hold on. All right, so I'm going to put my needle down. Right there in the center, you're going to feel, excuse me, all of that fabric in there. And I'm going to make sure that as I sew this, that all the fabric underneath is flat. Okay. Again, you don't want any puckers in here. Okay, there we go. Notice I'm just keeping that needle down, lifting up my presser foot. There we go. Okay. All right, let's see how we did. Oh, there's a pin in there. I was like, oh my goodness, I've sewn this wrong. No, but look at how good this looks, right? So here's the half I just sewed. So now I can come here knowing that where it sits in the center is exactly where I want it to be. And then I'm gonna add these last couple of pins, okay? I just think this is such a fun die because they're just gentle curves. You know, start with a table runner. You could do some really fun pillows or table toppers. We had some really great inspiration on our live event yesterday. Hey, and don't forget, all of our live events live on our Facebook page and our YouTube page and our website, so you can always go back and watch them. All right, hold on. Before I sew this last one, let's look at some more questions real quick. Okay. All right, let's see. Oh, this is a really great question. Brenda wants to know, would this pattern be a good hand sewing project? So you could do it as a take-along project. Absolutely. I think that that's a really great idea because then you just have your little pins and you can just stitch. That's a really great idea. Oh, Rose asked a great question. Would pressing after gluing speed up the dry time to speed up the assembly time? Well, it probably would, but here's what I'm going to tell you. I would press like 3 or 4, and then by the time you've pressed the 3 or 4, you can go back to the first 2 and then glue 3 or 4, then go back and sew the first 2, glue 3 or 4 more, come back. Yeah, because once the glue dries, or it's pretty close to drying, you can start to go. Okay, Brenda said, how would hand sewing help you take it on the go? I'm gonna say hand sewing would just allow you to create, if I were hand sewing this, I would create all of these sections, just hand stitch them. And then as you put them together, make halves and then sew them together. Okay, so Robin wants to know, should you use glue on the last step when putting the 2 sides together? You absolutely could. Absolutely. Just go right along that little stitch line, glue it, let it dry. I feel like so many of you are going to start gluing. I just really have learned a lot about that. And honestly, I just think it's a really great method. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to sew this last little curve. I'm going to put my needle down, make sure all of the fabric underneath is flat, which is crucial. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop, lift up my presser foot. Okay. I had not thought about hand sewing that. That's really a great idea. Okay, hold on here. Just making sure all of the fabric underneath needs to be flat. And this is a really, really fun, like, chain piecing project. When I was making my samples, you know what? I just had pins and a pressing mat and an iron and did all the things. I mean, then I didn't have to get up at all. I didn't have to leave my chair. All right, so here, let's clip some of our threads. Let's see our moment of truth. I think it looks great. I'm pretty excited about it. All right, here we go. Ready? Thank you, Kenyon. Yes, ta-da, look at how fun that is. All right, so now I'm going to press this one. Notice how all of my melon shapes got pressed towards each other. Just one big circular motion here. Oh, makes me so happy. Look at that. Okay, ta-da, ta-da. And the reason that all those points came together is because when we sewed the halves together, we started from the center and worked our way out, okay? Then, to finish up your block, you would follow the pattern and add these green sections. You're gonna do exactly like this. You're gonna just go all the way around and press them away. It's gonna be great towards the green, all right? So to make the Go Daisy Chain Table Runner, you need a total of 5 blocks, and then add the green, and then those light green shapes are just shape A. And again, you wanna follow the pattern and the same steps to create the block. Make sure you use a bias binding on our website, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. We have lots of videos on how to cut and sew bias binding. You want to follow the pattern to lay out your blocks. Finish the project by adding batting between the top and the backing. Pin or base quilt is desired, and use, for this project, a bias binding. Okay, quilters, share all of your projects, not just these, with us on all of our social media platforms using hashtag AccuQuiltBuilt. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off my iron, and then I'm gonna look at last questions, and then we're gonna announce today's winner. Gosh, that's so fun. Oh, I love it. Okay. All right, let's see here. Oh, Julie is going to her very first quilt retreat next week. Do I have any tips for her? And I'm gonna say yes. Here is my tip, okay? I like to have all of my pieces cut and labeled for whatever project I'm gonna do before I go to the retreat. Because then I want to sit and sew and iron and create. I find that if I haven't cut all my pieces, then I have to take my cutter and my mat and my dies and fabric, right? So my big tip is cut all your pieces, make sure you label them so you know what you're making, and then enjoy. And hey, be sure and send us pictures of what you're making from your retreat. Okay, so Jeannie wants to know, how do you sew the second row? So here, let's just talk about it for a minute. Ooh, okay. So here's this, and you would have another circle, and these little pieces are shape A. So you're gonna add one here and one to this side, and then you're gonna follow the pattern and just add the circles. It's super easy, okay? Yeah. All right, could you use corners and angles from the cube to make a square? I don't think so. I think because it's round, we can't. But I think some of you should try. I think that's a great question. Oh, so someone says, Pam, I thought you were going to AQS Grand Rapids this week. I am. After the show today, I'm gonna get on a plane. I'm gonna fly to Grand Rapids. Tomorrow morning, I am teaching a class. Friday morning, I am teaching a class, and Friday afternoon, I'm doing a demo in the Grand Ballroom. So if you're at AQS, you can see me in those places. And then Saturday, guess what? I am going to hang out in the lounge, which is with our AccuQuilt booth, and we're gonna cut pieces for a charity quilt. So all the things, I'll be there like at midnight tonight. So yes, I am going to AQS Grand Rapids. Then next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I will be at Missouri Star Quilt Academy, or Missouri Star Quilt Birthday Bash, sorry. Birthday Bash for 4 days. You can find me in the Pennies store, which is where all of our AccuQuilt product is. And June Taylor is also having a booth at Birthday Bash. Our good friend Lori is gonna go hang out there. Listen, if you're going to Birthday Bash, come see me, because we made the cutest tote bags, June Taylor tote bags, with the llama die. And our team in Lincoln created a Birthday Bash embroidery file for llamas. It's super cute. So if you're going to Birthday Bash, check that out. So that's a great question. So yes, that's where I'm gonna be. All right, now, let's announce the winner, and then I have some stuff to talk about. I'm excited. Okay, so let's announce our AccuQuilt Live winner today. Can we have a drum roll, please, Kenyon? It is Janice Z from Paris, Tennessee. Congratulations, Janice. You are going to love this die. Now, quilters, be sure and check out our website because we have added a variety of June Taylor projects, which are now available on our website. Now, this month's die to try is the Go King and Queen Mermaid die. Oh, here's the die. Or I'll hold it up. Okay, all the shapes to make merfolk. Aren't those cute? Okay, and here's one of the projects that you can make. This is by, Amanda Harward of Larkspur Quilts. So look at this. She made a whole, it's called the Saltwater Palace. It's a free pattern at AccuQuilt.com. She used the mermaid, the sea life medley, the square, and that block that's in the center there that looks like seaweed and flowers, that is the weather vane die. Way to go, Amanda. I really like this one a lot. Okay. Now, don't forget, so you can get our die to try till the end of the month. It's available on the AccuQuilt website or from your local AccuQuilt retailer. Don't forget, we have just a few Joseph's coats. So if you want to pick one up today, be sure and throw it in your cart. And starting October 4th on Wednesdays, we're doing our final AccuQuilt along. And I get to give a clue. I don't often get to give clues. The lovely Erica does. So you know how I love Scrappy? For the next quilt along, I am actually using a collection of fabric. So this is called To Die For, Buttercup and Slate by our good friend Corey Yoder and Moda Quilts, or Moda Fabric. Look at this fabulous, fabulous, fabulous fabric. I have had this fabric for a minute, and I was trying to figure out what to use, what to make it into, and I'm going to use our die that we're going to use for our upcoming sew along. And here's the clue. You ready? In keeping with conquering your curves, our project is going to use a die that has gentle curves. Wonder what it's going to be. All right, offsite we have Alyssa and Lauren and Courtney helping me answer all the questions in the chat. Here in the Dream Studio, we have Kenyon and Brock and Greg. I'm Pam Heller, reminding you at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. To learn more about your quilting craft, be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for live events every Tuesday and Wednesday. You can check out the events page on the AccuQuilt website for more details on upcoming shows. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, visit our blog for exclusive tutorials filled with tips and tricks. And remember, at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more. You're invited to an AccuQuilt tea party on Tuesday, September 19th at 12 noon Central Time as we relaunch the Go Tea Party die. And be sure and come back for next week's AccuQuilt Live as I highlight the Go Signature Circle die, which is new to the AccuQuilt collection.